What's up, guys? We're back with another video. Obviously, not promised the time that I said beforehand, but we are back. I wanted to discuss a interesting topic. It's simple, really, but anger. People with anger, people in the workplace with anger, and how people deal with it, and conflict resolution, all that. Just because some things in my life have happened recently, and I just started to think a little bit more about that. So I just wanted to share some stories. Plus, on his other channel, there was an interesting debate that broke out. Indigenous podcast. If you're not subscribed to it, go ahead. If you're interested in that kind of thing.
Lots of anger on there, bro.
Yeah, lots of heat. Yeah. And they had a discussion. Supposed to be something that was, in light of Indigenous Peoples Day, like you said. And it didn't turn out that way. So some people went on with their opinions, and obviously you can see the surgical nature of how he broke down this man's argument, but how anger can be just led in by the level of ignorance. But you'll see here.
It's used by a caste system.
Where did you grow up?
I'm not going to tell you where I grew up. I'll tell you what that I grew up. I tell you what. I grew up in the barrio, homie. I'll tell you that.
Oh, okay, cool. That's interesting. But did you grow up speaking Spanish, or did you already lose it?
Look at. I'm telling you right now. Yeah. Come on. Look at it. Yeah. So what are you trying to say? That because I don't speak Spanish or something like that, or because my Spanish, because my Spanish isn't Castilian, because I speak some kind of.
Why are you guys so sensitive?
Because I am asking you a question. You're trying to question.
No, I'm trying to understand the person.
Okay. So let me talk to you then. Okay. So where are you from?
Why are you so aggressive?
Because I don't like the way you come off on me.
But
okay.
You're the one who's attacking me, bro.
You're asking personal question. Hold on.
You are.
I know. What do you call it? I just told you. I'm Chicano, homie. My family is from Guanajuato and Zacatecas.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Well, I was curious
and I grew up in the fucking barrio. Okay. Do I have to? Is there anything else? Though? Do you want to know?
Why are you so defensive about?
Do you want to know if I was in a quinceañera?
What
do you call it? Do you want to know if I got baptized? What do you want to know, bro?
Hey, were you even born in Nicaragua, by the way? I'm just curious.
No, I was born in Boyle Heights.
Yeah. He did say that.
Wait, so in the United States you were born?
Yeah, come on.
So you're not actually Nicaraguan then?
The reality is this, guy. Okay, so I'm.
Yeah.
So
hold on. I'm not done with it. Hold on.
I got it. Now, I just want to respond. So I don't know if this is like banter or not, but saying I'm not Nicaraguan because I wasn't born in Nicaragua. Well, then how is Juan Choloa Chichimeca or whatever he is?
I was actually born in Mexico and I was here illegally. I didn't have everything handed to me at birth like you did with citizenship, bro. So I mean, I actually lived the experience of an immigrant, bro. I'm actually Mexican. You're not Nicaraguan, bro.
So you're saying that because I was born in a hospital in Boyle Heights, I don't have the experience of an immigrant?
No, because you weren't illegal, bro. I mean, you didn't immigrate here as an adult either, so you don't have that experience.
But are you saying that I wouldn't have had that experience?
What, like, yeah, if you were born in Nicaragua, you would have had different experience. Do you think I'm
walking around with my U.S. passport on my forehead or something?
I mean, you don't have to worry about getting deported.
Okay.
Guys, let's view this through.
So the main thing about that video that's interesting is the level of assumption that he was able to create, and I think that's the part that's like Dude didn't have any information. He wasn't even prepared for the argument. He was literally just fueled by the fact that he was upset, so he was going to say the things that he believed to make it make sense. I've had that happen in my workplace. Oh, this is happening. I only have my perspective, and so this is where I'm going on. And half the time, the conflict resolution in that situation is simply just telling them the truth. If they have enough sense, they're going to be like, I look incredibly stupid. Like, Mr. Okay.
Now, and like, don't get me wrong, like, my viewpoint is like, for Mexicans, for example, that are second generation or they're Chicanos or whatever the hell, right? Mexican Americans. I still consider them Mexicans, and that coming from somebody that's born in Mexico, has the experience of an immigrant here in the United States. I was here illegally 13 years. But when you want to start invalidating other people's positions simply because they're Chicano or because you were born here, so this is why you think this way, rather than discussing the ideas, you just want to poke holes in their identity to kind of undermine them. Well, I mean, it's not my viewpoint, like I said, to invalidate somebody just because they were born in the United States, but I'm going to give you a taste of your own medicine, and that's what I did. I mean,
yeah, for sure, in that situation. And the thing is that you didn't really have to go back with the same level of heat. the entire conversation. That's actually what made the dude more upset. It's that simple fact of just, hey, here's this little info that you didn't obviously gather before you opened up your mouth, and now he's like, well, what do I do with that? So I don't know. This is a weird thing, and I've been thinking about it a whole lot in general, just because even with my own family, everyone addresses that differently. I would say I have definitely the longest views of my family members, and that can be seen as good or bad in certain ways like that. But my opinion of anger is that when we have it, it's really another emotion, and it's the mask for it. That's usually what happens in the moment. That guy, I honestly think he was just it was his ignorance, it was his insecurities, he was outnumbered, and he came in trying to fight. Obviously, it didn't work out for him. Some people, they just take their work with them. We'll take the work home work. It doesn't matter to work or whatever. So it doesn't matter how that goes. It happens. I personally don't feel that way because they say there's a cost to it. I always feel like you don't end a situation angrily and then say, yeah, I got over on them. All the time, like, you get that, but you also get the part of like, wow, I really wish I didn't have to do that, or it's literally energy draining. So,
it definitely is.
That's just the kind of the thing that I get out of it. But I don't know. It becomes way. It's not worth it. It's not worth it when you come down to the end of it. I've had situations where I've definitely got livid. Where everybody has their triggers. He knows his story specifically. Anybody knows me knows the story where I had a traffic situation where I was on a 2-lane road, and this guy was constantly trying to pass me, and I just, sped up, thought the sort of interaction between him and I driving was done. And I guess out of spite or something, I don't know what it was, he still felt the need to lap me in the midst of a turn. Mind you, these are all 2-lane roads. 1 lane going, 1 lane coming, you know what I mean?
Yeah, solid yellow line, too.
Solid yellow line, so you couldn't even brake. You couldn't even brake across that. It's illegal. And he decides to do it anyways, and then I got livid. I'm not gonna lie, I got pretty stupid too, instantly. I just felt like I was being challenged, so I was like, I'm gonna pass this guy no matter what it takes. But then eventually I get to a stop sign as I'm being hollered, hey, there's a stop sign, don't kill us. And I end up behind the guy, lands to my horn, and he gets out the vehicle. He's like in some sort of like a cable utility van or some internet something, I don't know, Dish Network. He was doing something like that, and he's like, "You got a fucking problem, bro?"
Yeah, it was country, bro.
He was a real country ass dude. Like, you got a fucking problem, bro? Had his jumpsuit on and everything.
PHAT, bro.
Yeah. And I rolled down the window, and my head's still naturally thinking about it's okay to escalate this situation because I'm fine with how I feel. I want to go ahead and then, I was ready to fight this dude. I didn't really care about the fact that he was a husky dude. I didn't even think about the fact that even if the situation happened, I had people in the car with me. That I wouldn't have been by myself, really. I just thought about this, that this was between him and I was going to hurt him. And that was what I was thinking. But, you get to that moment and you weigh, like, okay, so what's happening? I fight him, it gets escalated. One of us hurts each other, even does something worse, like, really hurts, potentially kills someone, and then, I go to jail? And then we end up thinking about that. I'm like, wow, all that power we felt in that moment. And then at the end, it's like, well, where are we at now? So that's kind of the thing that kind of keeps me back from doing it or ever really getting mad, because I think about that stuff pretty early. Obviously, everybody's got their triggers. Like that guy, his opinion was that he just didn't like hearing other people's opinion. But honestly, you shouldn't open yourself up to a media space where other people obviously don't agree with you and then be rude when you're in that area. It's
right, like don't get me wrong, were some of the panelists a little hostile at the start? Yes, but it's because of the whole context of the argument. But then you go in asking all these personal questions, and it not only gets people more riled up, because at least in our culture with Mexicans, with Hispanics, or detribalized natives, the problem with us is that we've had a history of invalidating each other because you're simply born here in the States and the other one's born down in the home country. So there's a lot that goes into it. So those questions play into that, and they're pretty sensitive a lot of the times because people have these assumptions. As soon as you answer the question, oh, you were born here in the United States, well, here's all the assumptions I got that are negative about you.
Exactly.
You were born in the United States, so you're not real, right? So that's why it's like for him, it's like, I said that to give a taste of his own medicine, but at the end of the day, it's all banter. I got nothing really against him.
I mean, you kind of have that in arguments, just back and forth. It depends on if someone's mature enough to handle it, and not everybody is capable of a debate like that, where you're going to have that sort of, well, I'm going to say this, you're going to say this, and then it's like, well, where do we end up? Because at the end of the day, that everyone has their own mission, and even if that guy doesn't agree, he should just work on his own, and instead of trying to just actively fight other people and what they're doing. The best way you get to win a fight is just by having other people on your side, not really having to take down people. But
yeah, I mean, like grow your audience. I mean, at the end, I mean, what I'll say is that me and Marcus's channel is growing faster than his, and he's around longer. So I mean, no shade to you, but I'm just saying we just beat us in terms of numbers.
Yeah, it makes
who wins.
Yeah, it makes a point. So, that guy, he's an I mean, he's really a classic example of so many people. So many people have this kind of behavior. Like, it's just common. And like I've had it at work where guys will say certain things and not understand things that work behind the scenes, and then I'm like, well, you don't understand that we're still working on coaching these people for this or this, that, and the other. And then a lot of times they look at themselves more upset at how they reacted versus the situation that took place, because there's missing information. But it's up to me to represent that properly, because what would have happened if I just started fighting back? Well, we get nowhere. So I think that's that thing where some people just like, yeah, anger is good. It's like, well, you should do that. You should do that. I'm like, I don't think there's a problem with being a little firm. But honestly, if you recognize that somebody's in a place, they say it's checking someone doesn't literally mean that you get rude back. You let them know the truth. That's the most important part of it. So to that guy, I would say, the advice-wise, man, is like just relax. It's not your media space. It's not how you fight to do that. It wasn't really the time for him to go in there anyways. I honestly, quite frankly, think it was rude because it was supposed to be a more open-based, like it was supposed to be for a more clean-related reason. But I guess he felt like it was okay because, like you said, the banter that happened beforehand, but he wasn't part of the group. You know what I mean? If you already don't side with him, don't introduce yourself to the complex. Your whole aim really was to try to break down other people in their argument because you didn't agree. It's the only thing that you meant by that. But, yeah, just focus on your own content. That's all I say. But, yeah, I don't know. You got anything else to add to that?
The only thing like with certain, forums, right? For example, there's a debate that Marcus went into on Radical Latino's channel. There's another channel, right?
Yeah.
They're debating these people. They call them like Afrocentrics or whatever. But anyways, I declined to get on it because while I follow what Marcus says and I agree that I disagree with the Afrocentrics.
Yeah.
And obviously, I would probably get worked up in a debate like that. That's not really an issue, but it's like, when you pair up getting worked up and anger with not being as informed on a topic, it makes you look really dumb. So that's why I declined to even get on there, because it's like that's not really my area of expertise.
Yeah, you shouldn't really introduce yourself to it, because you find that with society and a lot of kind of
I see it all the time. You see it on Facebook a lot. People get really angry, they'll attack, but then they look dumb because it's like, dude, you don't like.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you are on the right side and your anger is valid, but you just don't have the information to back up that anger.
Yeah, so the argument becomes useless because someone else is able to take you down in it, and you end up making yourself more mad or upsetting someone else for their position. It makes like, if you're going to go into that, first of all, don't even argue really, and second of all, you got to know what you're talking about. That's the only way it's going to really work, because you have so many people do that. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on or something. It could be like, it could be gay rights, racial related stuff, or gun rights or something like that. And if you just say, this one fact or this one element or something you feel or understand about something, or just your general fear of something, it doesn't really get you anywhere.
Right, and I'll give you one example, that happened on one forum I was in, right? So I was debating these Hispanistas with Marcus, right, about, they were really writing Spain and, how that's better than being indigenous.
Yeah.
But we ended up debating them, and I feel like we did a good job crushing them. But we had a supporter. I'll just leave any information out. Just a supporter, and she got into it with them. But in my opinion, she went a little over the top because she got so angry. She started demonizing white people as a whole, saying things like. And so I didn't really butt in at that point because it's like I disagree, and it's like you shouldn't let your anger get you to that stage because then you are no better than them.
Yeah, you have to stay on subject. You lose track of the whole thing because at that point you're just feeling like let's just hurt people. Like we've all heard that phrase.
Yeah.
So at that point you can't just go in and just affect the environment that way because then it doesn't change. It doesn't change. The whole discourse dies because there's no actual learning. It's just everyone hurting each other because at that point you're not providing information. So I would say people just got to stop that. Facebook doesn't matter where it is. If you feel like you have a need to post your opinion needs to come with some modicum of fact because if not, prepare for what's going to happen to you. And then at that point, if that person addresses you, they should still do it respectfully. Everybody needs to know how to have real discourse. That's something that we're missing, and it just leads to a lot of people being upset for honestly things that are completely avoidable, and then the way they act out on it gets really dumb. And it doesn't matter in whatever environment. Like I said, it can be work, it can be siblings, it can be just social media sphere. It doesn't matter. Content on YouTube.
Yeah.
So,
although I think with some of these things, like cause I even like for that guy that we ended up like the one I responded to in that video, that clip, right?
Yeah.
That I put on here. So he was coming after me, kind of like on my live stream chat a little bit, saying something about me LARPing and all that. So we kind of toned it down because I started talking to him because I actually don't have any rancor towards him. I mean, it's just like I have no problem listening out. So I was like, you could just DM me on Instagram. We could just trade voice messages back and forth. I think that would be more fruitful. Like not even in a public space. There's nothing at stake, no ego. It's just me and you, and we just exchange the ideas. I think that's actually even better. And I think that's also another solution to if you feel yourself getting so riled up by a person. It's like if you do it probably privately, you could probably like put that aside and actually make more headway that way.
Yeah, and generally, if someone is actually right in that situation, you're able to understand that that's the case, but they might still understand where you forms your opinion. I mean, you see that in video games where somebody will play a team-based game and then they'll say 1v1 me, but then they start to realize what's the true skill behind someone's technique or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like it's the same concept. So I think people should just they got to be able to talk to each other a little more forward. And a lot of times if you present a concept like that, you open, like they see integrity there that they may have not once thought because people come in with, like, this sort of defensive way of doing, like, he's probably going to come at me if I say this, to another, so let me already be ready. And then you're just like, no, man, I really don't want to do this.
And that might happen on a live stream or on a video. So that's why I was like, you can DM me on Instagram. Like, I'm not even going to be, I'm not going to be hostile. I just want to hear you out. I mean, I think you're interesting enough to hear out, even if I disagree completely. I mean,
the veil comes off at that point. And then at that point, you realize, like most people, their anger, like I say, anger is just a mask. It's a mask for fear. It's a mask for insecurity. It's a mask for, like, built-up sadness or disappointment. It's always just your first thing. They always talk about processes of, like, grief or anything like that. And you're just going through these stages of feeling things. And anger oftentimes is like this. Well, this is the one that makes me feel, it almost like your sense of control. And I'm like, you might not have it in this case. Or you might just need to confront that other thing that's causing that. Because you get some people that get mad about that kind of thing. I'm like, if you're uneducated, learn. If you're hurt, deal with it. You deal with that, whatever that thing is, and that could be whatever method that is. Because I'm not just say, "Oh, deal with it." I'm like, well, because it could be something quite intense, therapy, whatever you got to do. But if you just turn in that and keep doing it, who knows what you're capable of or what you'll end up doing because you've bottled up something. And it can be detrimental, but you got to go somewhere. You have to find something, because then you're going to be detriment to most people around you and definitely a detriment to yourself. But
well, one thing we were discussing, this kind of like, it's still in the realm of anger, but it's a little different, right? Where we were discussing that one time I got into a fight, and we'll leave the identities out, right? But one time I got into a fight years ago where I blacked out, and that actually scares me in the sense of I won the fight, but I only remember entering into the fight and then the aftermath of the fight. I didn't even know what I did during the fight. I just know I won. And the result, like, the person was injured, but it's a scary thought because it's like if you let anger get to that stage,
it's not controllable.
Yeah, you can't even control. You don't even know. You're not even aware.
And that's the thing about it. It's, mind you, like I was saying, like, it's the thing that people feel like gives them control, and lo and behold, most people do the worst things that they would be like, I would never do that afterwards. It's like, like I said, I Am a Killer, that Netflix thing, and that guy just blacked out and killed the two people that weren't even responsible, but just because they didn't believe his circumstance.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, but you look at the guy who was a nice guy, he just went through something, it was really traumatic, Foster kid, adopted, was touched on a whole lot and whatnot, and then eventually raped, if I was correct. and it gets pretty intense in that way. But he tried to handle the situation and he snapped. So it can happen to people. But if you're obviously, a lot of us are dealing with things at a much lesser degree, and we don't even seek out trying to fix the problem. So it's like, dude, you got to do that, because you just end up in a bad place with that. Because I've had some stuff happen when I was, a little bit younger, 5 years ago, and I started to realize how much it was easier for me to take out things just because of how I felt about situations. My home life affecting my work life and things like that. And, someone say something to me sideways, I wasn't the kind of person that would retaliate. And afterwards, I felt like, no, it's fair. I didn't really think it mattered anymore. So, but I don't do that now. You have to gain that reservation. And you find that you feel much better not having done that. But still, on the flip side, it doesn't mean just to shut up. You should be able to assert yourself. You should be able to state your opinion. You should be able to do all that. It's the method. So, yeah, but that's the gist. We are going to plug the video that we're talking about from the Indigenous podcast, so you guys can kind of get a gist for the entirety of the argument, just to get a basis of some of that stuff. And obviously, check out the other content. A lot of terminology that y'all may not know that we've kind of used here.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, so, but either way, but that's it for today. So we'll be seeing you guys next time. I hope that truth slapped.